We're out here at the 2026 Chrome and Smoke Show in Osmond, Nebraska. Who are we here with today?
Derek DJ Friedrichsen.
What do we got here?
This is a 1988 Mack Superliner. I purchased a little over 2.5 years ago. It was a retired fire truck that came out of down south of Joplin right into Arkansas, and I decided to restore it and did most of the work myself. Painted it all myself. Took the 9-speed transmission out, added a 13-speed. It had Rayco spring suspension, which I took that off. It was a 255-inch wheelbase, and since it was a fire truck, there was a lot of frame behind the wheels. So I put an airliner suspension under it. I was able to move it back to 279 inches. And I actually ended up cutting 8.5 inches off of the back of the frame. I could have went longer, but the older trucks don't turn as nice as the newer trucks. So I was very concerned when I got it done whether I'd be able to turn.
Absolutely.
And not have to back up and make a Texas corner. I mean, like the 359s, they're kind of that way. So I replaced the Rayco suspension with airliner cutoff. I had bought for another project. I got an 83 cruise liner cab over. That's where the love of the Macks came from.
Yep.
My brother and I, we grew up. Our dad had 2 different cruise liners, hauled hogs. We rode with him all the time. So I had bought this cutoff for my cruise liner project, and I had it sitting there, so I went ahead and used it. It's actually a single drive.
Okay.
The rear axle is a dummy, and it's a factory setup. And I actually talked with a good friend of mine, Larry Olson. He has the same setup on his truck, Jezebel.
Yep.
And he told me about Cush Suspensions at Nixon, Missouri, and they make a lift bag kit. So I actually made the back axle lift, so it works like a tag.
Gotcha. Awesome.
Yeah, and I ended up drilling a little over 110 holes in the frame. Nice mag drill. We actually we took the tank, all the fire apparatus off of it. I donated the tank and all that stuff to the orphan grain train. So hopefully they're going to be able to use that stuff for disaster relief eventually.
Yep.
And we had it basically from the cab back was just frame rails. Just gutted it completely and started it from scratch. Moved the fuel tanks back. They were underneath the steps. Added a set of Kenworth step boxes, which a friend of mine from Verdigris had bought for his W900. Well, then he got to where he was retiring. He sold the truck and still had them in a container, so I bought them from him, put them on there. I decided, of course, I'm a big guy, that I was going to uni-built it, so I bought a uni-built ring. We ended up turning the uni-built ring on its side, and we cut 11.5 inches out of it, because the Mack cab is actually narrower than a 379 by a lot. If I would have used it the other way, I was going to have to shorten it down and narrow it, and I was worried about the structural integrity.
Okay.
So we turned it to eliminate the extra welds.
Yep.
And stuff like that. It had a 300 E6 in it, which I kind of think was maybe blown up when I bought the truck. Not sure. Hauled a couple loads of cattle with it, shit the bed, so I bought a used engine from C&H. So now it has a E7 350, fully mechanical. And yeah, I've been running it. All the interior I did myself, which was an experience in itself. Bought all this pre-sewn diamond gray material off of Amazon. Came in 2 big, huge rolls. And wrapped it all myself, I guess. We can look in there if you want. Talked with Easy Pete's over there in Lamar's. They got me hooked up with buttons. So I added all the buttons. Just some Menards carpet.
Talk about a step back in time.
The bunk here, it's a 80-inch double eagle bunk my brother found. Actually, he found the truck on Marketplace. And we found the bunk on Marketplace. And I went clear out to Maryland and got it and put it on there. I think it fits the truck perfect, but I'm pretty partial to it.
A little bit of extra room in there, never hurt nobody.
Right, and it just fits. I mean, it looks nice. Absolutely. You know, I really like the proportion of everything. Yep. And that was the biggest thing when I was building it, like trying to pick the wheelbase. How much room do I want behind the bunk? You're getting a tape measure out, you're sticking stuff on, you know, where's the bunk going to sit when you put it on there from the cab, that kind of stuff.
Yep. You said you and your brother did all the work on this. I suppose you got a big fancy shop with a paint booth.
You ought to see our paint booth. We painted the walls. We finished plywood in the walls. I rent a shop from a guy. It was only 2 layers up. We finished it all the way up. Painted the plywood white. A couple 5-gallon buckets of white paint. Bought 2 packages of Amazon lights, LED like the shop lights.
Uh-huh.
Stuck them on the walls, made it look like, so that you could light it up.
Yep.
I did borrow a scissors lift from a buddy of mine to paint the bunk.
Yep.
And it still wasn't big enough. That's a long reach across an 80-inch bunk.
Yeah.
And hanging off of there. Had some good friends help out. When I did the suspension, I had a friend that works at the John Deere dealer. He had to make the center section of the cross member, the main cross member, because the Freightliner suspension it come from was a single frame. This is double framed.
Yep.
And so back up a little more. Before this was a fire truck, this truck was actually a sleeper truck. I bought it, it had like 547,000 miles on it. It's like low miles, very clean, little rust. And I was feeling really guilty about cutting up the back of because I'm like, this fire truck, it's pretty pristine, I don't know. Well, I got all the interior out and somebody had welded all that back in. You could see the welds from where it had been V'd up. It had a bunk on it.
Yep.
So another thing, when they made it into a fire truck, they added frame rail on to the original. It must have been a single frame. And then they put a whole new outer frame rail for strength. So this truck is double framed. There's no rust jacking whatsoever. It actually, Mack bolts them together. There's bolts right here underneath you can see where it's bolted on there.
Yep.
And so being double framed, the inside was smaller so that the Freightliner crossmember wouldn't fit the center section. So the local John Deere dealer, he made me that new piece out of square tubing or whatever, and we cut openings to get the air lines through. It looks pretty well like it was factory.
Absolutely.
And then, so what do you do with the stacks? Max, all their bunks had the cutout for the exhaust because they got a big long bar that goes down. I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. So I called out to ATG, Alliance Truck Group. They do big bunks, and the guy's very knowledgeable about these old double eagles. And I talked to him, and he said, yeah, it would support the stacks if I wanted to bolt them right to the bunk. That's what I did. So these brackets that are made, I designed those on a file folder.
Uh-huh.
And I had him cut them out, make the designs. He laser cut them out, and made them work. So got some good guys in our town, local guys that are talented, and they enjoy that stuff because they get tired of just putting.
Okay.
There was a place I tried to get the original van windows, but they weren't in production. They only do them a couple times a year where they were actually bubbled out the way they're supposed to.
Yep.
And he made me a bug shield. The paint job, I guess I should talk about the paint job a little bit. I sprayed that myself. It's far from perfect. So this whole truck, the premise of my build was doing it all myself.
Absolutely.
What I didn't learn, I guess, I went to YouTube and got my YouTube mechanic degree or whatever you want to call it. And the paint job is inspired from my dad's 1983 cruise liner.
Uh-huh.
It was the dark gray on the top, had a blue stripe, and this silver on the bottom. Darren, my brother, actually designed that. Dad bought the truck. It was it was a white fleet truck, and Darren had him paint it like an ultraliner, the same stripe design, but used those particular colors. So, and we lost our dad when we were young. I was 16, he was 18, and so it's just kind of a tribute to him. He's kind of the reason why we truck.
Yeah.
He was a chrome don't get you home kind of guy, so he would really shake his head at all the shiny
polish.
But I think deep down he's probably still proud of us.
Absolutely. You ought to be proud for what you've got here.
Yep.
This is
So
beautiful ride. You guys did an awesome job.
thanks.
For just being a couple of guys in your shop, just dinking around.
It was more or less a challenge. Don't tell me that I can't do it or whatever. And, and I've put my other trucks together. I've put the stacks and,
Yep.
like when I got my other new truck or whatever, put the stripes on there and all that shit. But it was just, and I was sick of the road. It was like, take a little time off.
Yep.
And play around in the shop for a while, piss away a lot of money.
You get a little extra family time,
the dream.
bonding with
Yeah.
your brother.
Yep.
Fighting over this and that, I'm assuming.
Wasn't a lot of fighting, but I suppose I was probably barking orders at him once in a while. And I got a lot of good friends that helped, and some with the mechanical knowledge and some with the paint knowledge, and yep, just been a lot of fun. And there was beer drank too, so that was good too, right?
All right.
Yep.
It's been
Well, thank
great
you.
talking to you.
You bet.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have a good day.
You bet.